Greetings, folks. I thought of actually doing this actually today when I got up this morning. Actually, probably since yesterday, actually. And I can't believe I'm actually going to be talking about something, a group or whatever, or, technically there were just two of them doing, basically the music and stuff. And of course, I'm talking about probably one of the most, probably by far, one of the most, in the 70s, probably one of the most well-known, right there with the Archies and that kind of pop bubblegum kind of stuff. I mean, they're not amazing, obviously, but my dad loves them. I mean, he grew up with this TV show. He grew up with all the songs, and obviously they were well known for I Think I Love You, which was the #1 hit. And I'm talking about Partridge Family. This is season 1, and then we have season 2 of the show. So yeah, the Partridge Family. Why not? Why not talk about them? So I'm going to go through each of their albums. I only have 2 of their albums. We only have 2 of their albums. Apparently, unfortunately, I don't have any of their other albums. Yeah, we don't have any other albums from them. So I kind of wrote down notes and stuff and other information about their other albums that they came out with. They came out with a total of 7. Well, I guess you would say 8 albums. If you also include their Christmas album, they came out with the Christmas album. They had their Christmas special too from 1971. So from 70 to 73, they came out with a total of 8 studio albums, and they were really well known. You have the whatchamacallit, the Wrecking Crew. You have Hal Blaine, the great Hal Blaine on drums, and of course you got David Cassidy, Shirley Jones. All these guys are great. I mean, I wouldn't say they're right there with John Lennon, but or excuse me, the Beatles, or the role. I mean, they're not there. I mean, obviously they're kind of mid-tier, kind of right here. But their songs are great. They got a really great handful of songs. I Think I Love You, written by Tony Romero, and mostly almost all the songs were written by him. And Wes Farrell, he was another guy who kind of did a lot for the Partridge Family, and a whole bunch of other people, a whole bunch of other songwriters, Bobby Boyce and Bobby Hart, Bobby Boyce and something Hart. I forgot the other. Boyce and Hart. Yeah, they were the team duo that wrote majority of all the Monkees songs. Got Carole King, Jerry Goffin, that team. Then you also got a guy named Mark James, who, in their last album, he wrote a song. He wrote the song "Roller Coaster." I think that was. He wrote a couple songs actually from their last album, which I'll get to. When I get to it. There was a song that they did on their last album called "Roller Coaster." It was written by Mark James, and he was the one that sung, "We can't go on together. Oh, Suspicious Minds." That guy. He wrote Suspicious Minds for Elvis Presley. Isn't that crazy? Crazy stuff. But anyways, we'll get into the albums, and then we'll get into 5 of my favorite tracks. Or at least 5 favorite songs from them. Tracks, whatever. Not from the albums, but, songs that they did. They did, however, came out with Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. They did a cover of that song. I couldn't find which album it was from. I think it was just released as a single. So, it was the Neil Sedaka song. Let's just go ahead and jump right to it, right? And of course, the shows are just corny. They're not really, not really that memorable. I mean, just like the Monkees. I mean, obviously, they're just well known for their songs. So here we go. This is their first album, so we'll go and get started here. The Partridge Family album was released October of '71. This is the original LP, actually. You can see that it's like a photo album. It's so cool, the back too. I love it. The well-known track, of course, is "I Think I Love You," and of course, it's on the famous Bell label from that time. I'll show you. Yeah, straight up. There you go. Yeah, it was the #1 hit, written by Tony Romero, and it's a great classic pop song. Great classic pop tune, bubblegum. You know, you can see the music video of him like kind of in a dark room, like he's like sitting on a bench chair or whatever, doing that song. You can watch it on YouTube. The album hit #4 on the Billboard 200 charts. And and there's also another song I'm quite familiar with too. "I Can Hear Your Heartbeat," which was also written by Wes Farrell. There's a couple other songs too, especially Barry Mann. Barry Mann was another great pop writer as well. He did a couple songs on here. Yeah, it's a great song. Oh, "I'm on the Road." That's a song that they always do in their, when they're on the road. So yeah, there you go. That's the Partridge Family album. And then their second album is called "Up to Date." This is a really cool album cover. You know, I don't know why they chose. Maybe that's when they were born. I guess I guess Cassidy was born April the 12th. I'm assuming. I guess I don't know. But it's a really cool, a really groovy album cover. And there's the the bus that they ride on. You know, it charted on the 200 charts at #3, which is great. Probably better than a notch up than the debut. So you got all these folks on here, including Hal Blaine, all the guys from the Wrecking Crew. Joe Osborne, he was another bass player, for the Wrecking Crew. The hits I'm kind of familiar with is "I'll Meet You Halfway," which was written by Jerry Goffin, who was another. He would always pair with Carole King with some of the songs. And then you got "Doesn't Somebody Want to Be Wanted?" That's a really great song too as well. Here's a song that was actually a Cassidy song on here called "Laid on the Line," but that's kind of interesting. And some other interesting songs on here too. So yeah, that was Up to Date. So that's it. Those are the only albums I have really on physical format, vinyl, whatever. I don't have them on CD. So we'll continue. And their next album, their third album, was called Sound Music, or not Sound Music, Sound Magazine. It was like a red background cover. At least I can tell you some of the details. So yeah, it kind of just looks like a magazine. Looks like a music magazine. It was released later in '71 in August of that year. On the 200 charts, it only reached at #9. So you can kind of tell at this point that they were kind of, with their albums, they were kind of decreasing on the on the charts. The big song on here is "I Woke Up in Love This Morning." Great song, went to #13. And another minor hit they had too is called "Summer Days." And they have a song on here called "Echo Valley 26809." And I bet you don't know who wrote it, or I bet you didn't know who wrote it. The Pina Colada guy. If you like pina colada, that guy. Rupert Holmes wrote that, which was interesting. I guess he was kind of like he was kind of unknown, obviously, at that time. So I thought that was interesting. I think at that time he was just kind of like like a songwriter, I guess. Like he wasn't really well known, obviously. So yeah, the Pina Colada guy wrote that song. So yeah. So we get to their fourth album, and it's called "Shopping Bag." It's like basically just a shopping bag with all the Dave Cassidy, Shirley Jones, Danny, and all them. It was released in March of '72. It only reached at #18 on the 200 charts, Billboard 200 charts. The only song I'm familiar with, it's "One of Those Nights." It was only Billboard at 200, or excuse me, on the top 40 charts. It was at number 20. So at this point, or at least after this album, they released the single "Breaking Up Is Hard to Do." It was on the top 40 charts. So after that, single, they released another album called The Partridge Family Notebook. It was released in November of that year. It only reached at number 41. So, yeah, you can kind of tell. You can see from 18 to 41 with their next album. So, looks like they weren't doing so hot. They have a song on here, which of course was covered by a few artists. In the early 60s, it was done by the Ronettes, and later, way later, 69, it was done by the Jay and the Americans, off of their album called The Wax Museum, Volume 1, Volume 2. The song was written by Barry Mann and Phil Spector, so it's like a Phil Spector production song, produced song, definitely for sure. They had a very, very, very minor hit called Looking Through the Eyes of Love. Went to number 39. And they did a cover of We Gotta Get Out of This Place, which was also written by Barry Mann. So we move on to their next album. It's called Crossword Puzzle. So it's kind of like, the album's kind of basically like a crossword puzzle that you would see on magazines and stuff, and like newspapers. It was released in June of 1973. This time it went to 167, so that didn't do any justice. They have a song on here. Actually, one of the first songs, like I said, way back in the beginning of the video, Mark James. He also did another song for them before Roller Coaster. This is the album before Roller Coaster. A song called "It's a Long Way to Heaven." So it was written by him. Not too familiar with the other, songs or whatever. So, other than of course written by the same people: Wes Farrell, Tony Romero, Barry Mann, Carole King, those people, those folks. So you get a mix of everybody writing stuff on that, or at least definitely their other previous albums before this one. Then we get to their last album. It's called Bulletin Board. It's basically just shaped as a bulletin board. You see like the black, or you see the the background, I wish you call it that brown, that wood look, where you put, bulletin boards. So you put like notes on stuff, This was their last album. It didn't chart. So like I said, Roller Coaster, written by the guy who did Suspicious Minds, Mark James. He also did another song on here called Where Do We Go From Here? And then we get a Goffin and King song on here called Oh No, Not My Baby. So so I am familiar with Roller Coaster, and that's a really great song. I really do love that. I love that really heavy kind of like, definitely for its time, definitely very, really, really heavy on those keyboards, and like, it's so cool. It has like that kind of climatic, in the end with the horns and stuff. So definitely with this album, with this last album, it's more definitely for its time, perhaps very funky, very upbeat in a way. So it's a great way that they kind of ended it off. But I mean, I only got like 4.5 stars, the album. So, and that's it, folks. That's pretty much all their albums. My favorite songs are I Woke Up in Love This Morning. Obviously, it's a great song. I think it's always been one of my favorite Partridge Family songs, no doubt about it. I'll Meet You Halfway, great song. I really love that song. That was from their second album, Up to Date. It has the strings. It's got like a very, Cassie has a nice tender voice in his vocals in that song. My third one is their cover of, which is a bit more like, groovy, I guess. Their cover of Breaking Up Is Hard to Do. I really like their cover of it. They say it's breaking, or they say breaking up is hard to do. Woo. You got a lot of those woos and ahs. So that's my third one. Then my fourth favorite is, of course, I Think I Love You. I love that song. It's one of the greatest, probably, right there, And then we got, I Can Feel a Heartbeat. I love that song. And it's another underrated, like, Partridge Family song for sure. And yeah, that's my 5 favorite. So if you guys have any of your favorites of the Partridge Family songs, hey, let me know in the comments below. I would love to see that. So yeah, that's it for the Partridge Family, and whatever. They were good. They were good. They were good for the time. And you also, for the background vocals, a lot of those background vocals, they were done by the Ron Hicklin singers, and were also done by a group in the '60s called the Love Generation. They were also another background, doing the background, providing the background vocals for the Partridge Family songs. And they also, David Cassidy also went solo. He had like some solo albums. So, but yeah, I mean, rest in peace to David Cassidy. I mean, I can't believe coming this November, it's going to be already 4 years since he, passed away. But Shirley Jones is still alive. So, yeah. So that's it, folks. That's it. That's, the Partridge Family albums and my 5 favorites. So thank you guys for watching. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a great day.